not as cool. Look at that.
Oh my.
Yeah, now we can match when we go to meetings.
Thank you.
Oh, criminy.
You guys just don't have as much fun on the second floor as we do on the first floor. See this? Like Aaron, just not as cool.
Yeah, there you go.
Because he wore his shirt yesterday. Like, I need one of those shirts. I want to look like Aaron. He's
That's
cool.
my Football Friday shirt.
You should have had Aaron and then have it like crossed out and then put Brian.
And then have it spelled wrong. Like
AA round.
AA Ron.
Yeah, AA dash Ron,
All right.
and then Brian with a Y and a couple Z's and like. Yeah.
All right. It is 8:30 on September 5th. I'll call this meeting of the Utilities Commission for the City of Mount Vernon to order. Clerk may call the roll.
Mr. Sires,
Here.
Mr. Ball,
Here.
Mr. Reinhardt,
Here.
Ms. Duesenberg.
Here.
We have a quorum present. Moving on to minutes approval. We have the minutes before us from the August 1st meeting. Does anybody see, since we have those present, does anybody see any additions or corrections that need to be made? Hearing none, I'll ask for a motion for approval.
I'll move to approve the August 1st minutes.
All right, we have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Motion and a second. Any discussion? All right, hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? They are approved. Moving on to the adjustment journal. Mr. Cook, would you like to address this?
April, can you scroll down to that, please? Yeah. Excuse me, been having a little trouble today. So the first one's the bulk water sales, which were up a bit from last month, which is good. Then we had a couple of check returns. We had a meter that estimated over 27 months, so we credited back to a 3-month average for them because there was some decent usage on that. So that's that second one there. The next two are return checks, and then the last one was a reimbursement for somebody that had paid way ahead on their bill, and they ended up switching accounts, so we had to cut them a check to reimburse them for their overpayment.
Okay.
Move to approve.
We have a motion to approve the adjustment journal. Any, do we have a second?
Second.
We have a second. Is there any discussion? Hearing none. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carried. All right. Now we'll move on to new business. We have Joe. Oh, man, I apologize. Badalamenti. How's that? All right. Phonetically. From the Westgate Trailer Park, if you'd like to approach the lectern there. It's got too many vowels, man. All right.
The park there, I'm very proud that in the last couple of years I haven't had to come here. We've done a lot of work that I'm very proud of. And now it's resurfaced some of the old problems. And part of it, the reason why I have these issues there is because my land is almost, as the crow flies, contiguous to the gravel pit. So typically, when you would have a property in the community, it wouldn't be that big of a deal because the water comes up and you see general area where the water would be an issue. Here, because of the gravel, it goes down when I have a leak. So finding, the son of a gun is really tough. And since they changed the meter on my property for whatever reason, early in August, I've been there 24/7. I invite any of the committee members to go out there today, and you'll see 2 plumbers, an excavator, and 2 laborers, and me. We're there all day, every day. You'll see about 15 holes, where the ground's been disturbed, or once you get into all that, it's very complicated. And by the time we're done, I'm figuring there'll be probably another 15, holes that we'll have to go through. But we're going through it and we're doing it. We're getting it done. And I've spent probably tens of thousands of dollars, in this past month. And the one thing is that the water is going through the pipes, but for sure it's going down into the ground. So take that into consideration. If there's anything that you can do for me, being in the position that I am, my emergency fund is gone, credit cards are up there, and I'm getting the job done. And take that into consideration. If there's anything that could be done, I sure would appreciate it.
Do you know how much usage, additional usage there's been?
Well, I'm really not quite sure the units, how it's measured, but I know that on the meter, typically, whatever the numbers mean, I know that typically over the last 2 years I'd be between a 5 and a 12. And a 10, my bill was going to come in at the regular amount, 12 the regular amount, and then after that I'm getting worried. What's going on here? Let's see what we can do. On my high days recently, it's been almost 4 times the amount of water, up to 45. And we found a leak. One of the leaks, one of the first ones, the water was actually coming out on the ground. 2 days after they changed the meter, the lady called us, hey, there's a swimming pool back here for whatever reason, and we were able to locate that one. So the 45, we got it down to 35, and from there we've been tackling it. I'm probably around 20 to 24 right now. But I have to get it down. I'm probably using double what I should be using, but I'm not giving up, and I'll get to where I need to be.
Have you received a bill for
Yes.
this? What was
Well,
your-
it's the bill ended on August 19th, and it was still running 35, but those were a lot of high days in there. And the bill was 10,970, and usually my bill is 6,000.
Say Brad has all the numbers
Okay.
of what a 3-month average would be
Yep.
versus the.
So what is your request?
My request is that, however, I know that in the past, when you all could do something, typically it was, well, you used all that water, but we didn't have to retreat the water. And it was definitely a leak, and I can verify that. And like I said, I invite any committee member to go out there afterwards with me and see what we're doing. A picture's worth 1,000 words. But if they could take the untreated part of relating to the sewer off my bill, that would be very much appreciated if it's possible.
So, yeah.
Let me provide some background, because as I look around the room, Aaron and Rob are probably the only ones that know anything about this. So Joe is a Class 1 water system regulated by the EPA. He buys water from us through a master meter. So he's in his own, he has his own Class 1 operator, he does his own testing, he has his own billing system, and then your 70-some residents are all in the city. Trailer park's kind of an island out there that's annexed out of Clinton Township. Clinton Township built the sewer system. We have been working together, so we have designed a new water system for Joe. Joe has what we call a 95 account, which he's paying us back for the design of the water system. Then we have been applying for EPA grants to eliminate one of the things the EPA's top goals is to eliminate small water systems, small sewer systems. So we're trying to do a water system elimination where EPA would pay to install ductile iron copper pipes, because his system was built plastic and then attached to the city system. And I don't remember if that was a mandate by the EPA. That's long, probably before you owned it, right?
Right.
So before Joe owned it, before any of us worked here, he was attached to the water system because the geology, the gravel pit, basically, if he was on well water, he would be pulling out of the gravel pit for his customers. EPA doesn't like that. So as a class 1 system, you really can't be providing untreated well water to 70-some people. So like some of the other auto dealerships that are considered public water systems. And well, not since I've been here, people have been forced to hook up on Harcourt Road because of the poor well water. I don't know about Joe's case because that's long before me. But the idea is his pipes were designed for well pressure, and he's hooked to city water. So one of the mitigating factors we did a few years ago is the EPA and the city allowed him to install a pressure reducer because we're probably 75, 80 PSI. But his system's max capability is probably 70. And then if you're in a mobile home, mobile homes are not designed to take much above 70 PSI either. So the leaks have previously been inside and outside. So there's a pressure reducer in the meter assembly.
That's correct.
Where I think the communication happened is when the meter was changed, instead of doing a water shutdown, they opened the bypass. So by opening the bypass, the meter, the old meter, and the pressure reducer were temporarily bypassed. Is our understanding of
That's correct. That's how
what
it's,
Aaron and I have.
that's how it's engineered.
Yeah. So, so I support
So as
some
far
kind
as
of credit.
yeah, so
Go
as
ahead.
far as relief, I think today from this, from this dais, we're not going to be able to do anything. But
Well, Brad has data, so I was gonna say let's bring Brad up and have
right
him.
now, you have data?
Yes.
Okay, all right.
Yeah, Aaron.
Well, it's not in the packet.
No, it's not. Because
Okay.
I didn't know exactly what the decision was, but I have information for you guys to make a
Okay.
decision if you'd like to.
All right.
Yeah, let's
so
bring
let's
Brad up.
bring Brad up here. Yeah.
Thanks, Joe. At least get the framework. We may not have all. I mean, if there are leaks still going on, that's different. But yeah, go ahead, Brad.
Yeah, so I mean, depending on what you guys want to do, I have calculations on the overage. So for this last billing cycle, he usually runs about 240, right? So an average was 242, I think, for the last 3 months before the leak. When the leak started, he's up to 771, 100 cubic feet. Sorry. So I have those totals for if you guys wanted to offer any credits for any above average, I have that. And then if you would like other usages, I can give it to you. So what would you guys like to do? And I can give you numbers.
What's above average right now?
So if above average for sewer is $3,600, like roughly $3,600. So $3,615.84 is what he's paying over his previous 3 month average for sewer.
Say that again.
$3,615.84.
Is that per month? Is that what you said?
That's just this current billing cycle.
Okay.
So if there's still a leak going on, that I could tell you what his usage is, but I wouldn't have the calculated bills yet.
What's the average on the water?
The water overage is $1,422.10. And that's based on.
That's an overage?
Yes, that's just the amount of money that is due for the bill. That's over his normal,
Okay.
previous 3 month average.
That was 1,000 what?
$1,422.10. So the total for that's $5,037.94. I don't know what the deal with the frog in my throat is here. I apologize for that.
All right. So, since this is a city property and this is, the city's had a hand in, well, it's not a city property, it is a property within the city, let me rephrase that. The city's had a hand in this engineering, that's correct?
Well,
Engineering this system?
no,
No,
we have
Been
engineering for,
involved with,
we have engineering for a new system that he's paying us for.
okay.
That hasn't been constructed.
We have, okay.
And by the way, I just wanted to add that Brian over the years has been great with the different grants that he hears about.
Hmm.
And he spent a lot of time and energy filling out paperwork. We haven't got lucky with the funding of anything like that. But he's always taken the extra effort to help.
And we have one more in the pipeline.
No pun intended.
No, pun was intended.
Pun totally intended. All right.
That one's
We
for
gotta
you,
get him a
Tanner.
shirt. That just says So here's my question. We give this relief now, which I'm totally on board with. What I see that you're working on fixing these leaks right now. What are we doing? Is there anything that we're involved with?
No.
No. Do we have any sort of responsibility at this point to be involved with it?
I don't.
No, I mean, he's his own water system, so as far as his repairs internal, we don't really inspect those.
So he's his own water system, but we have also been contracted to design a system?
Yeah, we reached agreement system is designed and has an EPA permit.
Sure.
So that work is done. We paid for it. He has a separate utility account that he's making payments back to us based on that agreement.
Okay.
So that account is in good standing.
So the thing, I guess I'm just confused
I guess
as to.
this is a lot of that was for background.
Yeah.
So what we have is to today's standards, Joe's water system is substandard. So
Okay.
we would not allow a developer to build
What he has.
what he has.
Yeah.
But it was brought to us through happenstance, is my understanding. Like there wasn't a choice on either party. I don't know for sure, but I believe the EPA said you will hook up and the city will give you water, and then he was connected. So the dichotomy in that what he has needs to be at a lower pressure. So it is possible a mistake on our part that we should have done a water shutdown instead of a water bypass
Okay.
in
Well,
changing the meter.
We followed our standard practice. We weren't aware that the pressure reducer was
Right.
being bypassed. So that design, the pressure reducer should be beyond the bypass.
Right, and that's we're not sure. We can't track down where that mistake happened
Right.
because the people who it was approved to do it, but then the people who executed the install on our side are retired or have left the city. So
Okay.
there would have been a handful of meter guys that knew what that was. Those people were probably 2 generations past our staff knowing that was there.
Is the remedy in process then, basically?
I don't believe so.
Okay.
The fix of the leaks is, but
That's what I mean.
and then we
is-
should put something in place where we don't utilize that bypass.
Right.
Yeah.
Or we work to move the pressure reducer downstream of the bypass so that.
So I'm going to informally expect Mr. B and you folks to kind of handle that moving forward. That way we're not back in the same situation, which, is basically me just clubbing you over the head as you're sitting over there with credit card debt and everybody digging up your
That would be great.
trailer
if we
court
had
there.
communication all
Yeah,
the time.
but we can assist you with that as we have continued to assist you with, but it sounds like, what I don't want is you back here in October being like, me again, and I've got a pond in the backyard. So, yeah, so if there's any way for us to assist with that, or if it's incumbent upon us to assist with that, if we have provided some sort of design for that. Now, this is me just
Right.
hearing it right off the top of my head here.
I think the recommendation for the pressure reducer originally came from the EPA.
Okay,
So we did not design it,
so
but
our hands are clean in all of this. Don't like that. All
I
right.
mean, it's a gray area, right? Because
So-
I didn't,
Let's have,
it's probably in the wrong spot.
Okay.
So the idea is we're not, from our side, it probably won't be a problem until we have to work on the meter again. So we
Alright.
need to fix it before the next generation of meter folks retire.
so at some point between now and the next utilities commission, you move forward with the, if you would like, I'm not telling you what to do here, but you move forward with the motion for relief. And then, based on the, numbers that we've been given. And at some point between now and the next utilities commission, maybe we can sit down and talk about future steps if that's necessary. Sound good? All right.
All right, I'll make a motion to relieve the sanitary sewer fee of $36.15 and 84 cents. The understanding there's probably another bill that will need to be reviewed at the next commission due to ongoing leaks.
So that was, April, can you read that motion back? Gotcha. All right.
So,
$3,615.84 for the sewer.
Yeah, so a motion to relieve 3,600, is that right?
$15.
And $15.86?
84.
84. Critical. All right, $3,615.84 in wastewater. All right, relief. We have a motion on the table.
I can second that.
We have a second. Is there any further discussion? Hearing none, the clerk may call the roll.
Mr. Sires?
Yes.
Mr. Ball?
Yes.
Mr. Reinhardt?
yes.
Ms. Busenberg?
Yes.
All right, motion carries. Got that. The reason I'm so meticulous about that, if it's not in the agenda, we want to make sure that anybody watching or the minutes that get in here, that is very clear on what we just voted on, how we did it, and the amount that we did that.
The motion in the meeting minutes will show.
Yes, very much.
Yeah.
But some people watch live, some people go back and review it via the video, and we want to make sure that if they get the agenda packet from the website or anything like that, that's information's not included in the agenda, that we are very transparent at this meeting, what we're voting on. We can't just say, we're gonna give this guy a bunch of money.
Right.
Everybody good?
Well, I guess that's a question. Is that something that Brad's calculations could be attached to the minutes?
Yes.
Yeah,
that would
they can be.
Yeah,
That might
yeah.
be a way to follow up.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah, I was gonna put that all together and put it in there, but I didn't know what I
Sure.
knew the problem. I didn't
Yeah.
know.
yeah.
And
So I have
that's
to figure
more
10 different
as
ways.
as we move forward and kind of change the operation of the utilities commission. These kind of requests should be in advance, and the documentation provided to the members. That way, they vote. They have the information so they can vote
Right.
at the meeting. It's not a problem. We can do it on the fly. But if you had a real jerk of a chair, and be like, nope, we'll table it until next month.
So then, for clarity, does he need to come back next month?
No, for
okay.
that, we have voted on this particular relief. Now, if, the problem persists and you show back up and you're like, hey, me again, now it's $10,000. Here we are again.
Well, because I think you have on.
I don't foresee that, but, it is high right now, but I think, if we really keep our heads to the grindstone.
Sure.
it'll be a lot
Okay.
better.
Which precipitated my whole discussion on what are we doing to make sure that, this is
Yeah, I'm really sorry that you all have to be, racking your brains for this. It's my biggest problem in my life, other than, social things. But I'm gonna solve it if this is the last thing I do.
Sir, I would much rather be sitting here than where you are sitting.
That's what Mayor Davis, Mayor Richard
Mavis.
Davis said to me when I saw him in North Van Cafe. I was all full of mud, and I said, "I'm working on your old water system." And he goes, "I'm glad it's you and not me."
There you go. Well, all right, that's taken care of. We'll organize some time to sit down, maybe you, Brian, Aaron, whoever. Brad, obviously, Brad will take care of the the billing side of things. But we'll get with you. Sounds good.
Thanks, Joe.
As soon as we get Brian his shirt.
I gotta get my other matching shirts.
And a whole slew of shirts to buy first.
Get them all.
All right. Moving on to old business now. The staggered fees draft with notes, but I think,
There are two there. The
Yeah.
original and then the one that was just sent.
okay, so.
Yes, sir. We
So what
realized.
did you hand out? Which is this? What is
That's
this?
the one we realized the work session in the basement, my folks, that was one of our summer help had done that. And then
Okay.
she had wandered back to college and had not
Finalized.
finalized it. So
Okay.
when the agenda came out, it was like, oh crap, we didn't get this back around to everybody. So then we added, I think you added that to the agenda late.
Okay.
So I printed an extra copy, but you should have the version that you drafted and Lacey commented on, and then this version is from the work session with the, I don't know what we call it, subcommittee in the basement.
Okay.
There are still some things that need to be sort of,
So how about this? Because we've consistently kicked a can. We are going to review this as a commission today for about 15 minutes, and then we will, on the October
Right.
meeting, we'll vote on it.
Yeah, per our conversation that we had in the basement, I think some of the wording would need to be updated. So if we're, for example, I mean, we can review that if you want, but for example, just as you go through it, to think about, we have on there that, there's a lot of state inspection conversation, but the basement conversation was to allow them to have access to the water without any end date or respect to an inspection, right?
Okay.
So we decided to remove minimum charges essentially.
Okay.
The wording that would need to change would be to waive minimum charges to them, but we are unable to bill, if we have an active account so that we can keep an eye on it, we're unable to bill at the time that it changes hands. So we would want to bill that every month. If they don't have any usage, there'll be no bill. If they they tick up one, then they'll get a bill. It won't include minimum billing or fixed rate, but it will have the usage for just the consumption that they have.
I like that a lot.
So let's go through here, starting with, we're going to use the handout that Brian handed out here.
I think that's the right one.
Okay. And starting with purpose to provide to provide housing developers with a cost-effective approach to managing water and wastewater fees by allowing the installation and activation of water taps based on unit occupancy, thereby encouraging development and supporting sustainable growth within the city of Mount Vernon. Issues? Thoughts? Nope.
I would like to see a limit on unit occupancy though.
Well, this is just the
saying.
purpose.
This is just
The purpose is fine,
Th-
just,
This is, yeah.
Right.
This is just
All right. Boilerplate. All right. Scope.
tort language.
This policy applies to all housing developments within the city of Mount Vernon seeking to defer water and wastewater fees through staggered installation of activation of water taps. All?
You want to limit that to,
currently Schleybaugh, when they put something in, they pay the minimum bill from the time they drop the meter.
So,
what do you say, all that are subject to state or state, what's the right word, Rob? Their state permitting. Of,
so how
Well,
about
I mean,
this?
so state permit is that people who have to do state permitting are creating the large apartment buildings. So anything that has, a state, it's not state permitted plans, it's state approved building plans. I don't know if we're, is it just the people who are building the apartment buildings who are looking for this sort of relief?
right, because with Schleybaugh, he can build the entire house.
Mm-hmm.
It's really only subject to zoning inspection.
Yeah.
And so we're, making sure the lot lines are correct. So once he gets the house built,
Mm-hmm.
they come in and they pay for the water and sewer connections, and then after that, they're turned on immediately. And then, then they do all their
Yeah, but
tests.
they don't have to have like the lines for fire suppression and things like that the other.
Right.
So we're basically just dealing with the subset of those people who have state approved building plans.
Yep.
So let's star that section, and we'll come back in, and
All right, we'll read.
some department heads can, and
Well-
Roberto can lawyer that one.
Yeah, I think we can just add a statement about requiring state inspection.
For water, activation of water.
So we'll
tap.
come back in and fix that.
All right,
area.
that one's
We don't
easy.
have to do it on the fly here. All right. Policy statement. City of Mount Vernon allows housing developers to defer water and wastewater fees at the initial development stage by permitting the installation and activation of water taps. Good so far?
Housing developers.
Well, once again,
I think Brad's comment fits in this. I think you, this is where I think we call it a waiver of minimum fee.
Yeah.
I think this is where you take Brad's statement.
Okay, instead of
Wait.
to defer.
We have to be careful how we word that though, because waiver of minimum charge is completely separate. We would do waiver of like the fixed rate, right?
So where in that sentence did, or what, that fragment of that sentence did we go astray? To defer?
Water and wastewater fees. Yeah, I think we.
Yeah, I
would-
don't think you want the word defer.
Okay. So that particular word, okay. And activation of water taps corresponding to the occupancy of each unit in the development, which has been the sticking point, yes?
Kind of.
We're
yeah.
waiting until,
Yeah, but as long as we're billing.
That's the theory.
Yeah, as long
Yeah.
as we're billing for their usage, then that's not as much of an issue, right? Because
Okay.
the problem is the changeover from when it becomes occupied, how do we get notified, right?
Right.
Yep.
Because even with Mulberry Street, they're not telling us right now, so,
Sure.
which is exactly what we thought would happen, so.
Right.
So we want to make sure, so the only trigger for them to call us is going to be that they're getting a bill, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
so this policy aims to reduce upfront costs for developers fostering residential growth while ensuring proper utility management. Kind of come back to a purpose here.
Well, maybe the word defer is right, and then we just have to clearly explain it in the procedures part.
Wastewater
Brad?
fees. Yeah, I wouldn't call it a fee. Defer water and wastewater minimum billing maybe would be better than fees, unless we're talking about the tap fees as well.
Right, because
So
what the goal was is they would pay the $75 to have a unit number and an account created,
right,
and then they could pay the capacity fees, and those would be paid on move-in,
Right.
and then that would kick it to be where it goes to the minimum bill.
right,
So then the upfront cost would be, you're gonna pay the processing fee, probably pay for the meter, and then they would pay usage only
right.
up until move-in, and then they'd have to pay the rest of the capacity fees, and then start paying the
Right.
400 cubic feet.
And then does the plan that they're required in the schedule, because later on it talks about a schedule, there's going to be a deadline, right? We're not going to infinitely let them go, right? Because that creates a lot more watchdog scenarios for us to try to keep track
Yeah.
of everything.
I think,
Well, we'll address that in procedures.
Okay.
Put that
so I almost think
cart
that
before the horse here.
this statement may be okay,
All right.
as far as policy.
We'll look at defer, but
Yeah,
yeah.
we'll put a question mark.
And maybe question after fees here.
Yep.
All right. I feel like fees can stay, but we could add something to
Right.
fees, like minimum billing and fees. Like it's maybe not complete. All right. Procedures, initial application and recommendation. Developers must submit an application to the City of Mount Vernon's Engineering and Utilities Department detailing the development project and intended schedule for unit occupancy. So there's the deadline. Engineering and utilities. So engineering for the housing.
So what they're gonna do is, they're gonna submit a set of plans
Uh-huh.
through iWorks to
Okay.
get their fire and their plan for how they're connecting the units to water.
Okay.
That'll go through Lacey, that'll come to me, come to Aaron. If he wants to have his assistant directors, or if I wanna have my assistant director review it, then we'll permit the stormwater zoning, the sewer taps, water taps, and the fire tap. And then the fire, that also goes to the fire department if they have sprinklers.
Okay.
That's how that'll get approved. And then we would, then basically they were asked to enter into this deal on that first application.
Okay.
Make them pay they have to pay the fire. We're not doing this for the fire, so they're gonna pay for that. And then they'll start the fire as soon as they're on.
Now, do we have a means to do that? Because I've been here for a year and a half and have yet to ever see a permit come through in my personal email.
Well, yeah,
Can
we haven't
I
had,
work?
yeah, we haven't had any, we haven't had any new plans come through. So, like, we haven't had any grease traps, or I don't think we've had, most of these were done when Tom was here. So if we get a larger, if it's just a water meter, you don't see those. But if it's actually a plan set submittal, yeah, we'll print those out. We just haven't had any.
For this, I would need to see that, correct?
Yeah, but these were approved before we started. Mulberry Street, Schley Hall. Yeah, so we haven't had any new water systems
So,
constructed.
so
But you would.
iWork would have the ability to kick all of that information to, well, it would be Josh then.
Well, no,
well, it'd be
it would go
Aaron
to
and-
Aaron, and then he would choose how he, and then we typically print, we make them some, we make them send in also paper copies, because, you know, compare the screen size to the plan sets.
Oh,
If
okay.
he wants paper, and same thing with the fire department.
Mhm.
We'll run them a paper set now, but they make them,
Well, you're talking about the actual
like
development
development plans.
plan.
Yeah,
Okay.
so like Mulberry Street is
So you're not talking about like the actual like tap permit or anything?
no,
like that? Okay.
Aaron doesn't need to do that.
Yeah.
Because it, so like the meter schematic for this building, so the mechanical plan, we approved that, I don't know, several years ago. Because they had the choice of being like Joe and having their own master meter, or being individually metered.
Okay.
And they're afraid to be like Joe.
Can't imagine why.
So yes,
right.
you have not seen any of those, but the next, we'll see. Liberty Crossing would be the next one that you need to be heavily involved in. They have not seen it.
So, all right, all good on that? Okay. Application must include development plans, estimated occupancy timeline, and a request for staggered installation and activation of water taps. Is that complete? Incomplete?
Are you giving any guidance on timelines at all, or are we just gonna let them submit and approve and deny, or?
I mean, estimated occupancy timeline is vague.
Right, they come in and they're like, oh, 10 years we think, you know? It's like, well,
Well, but I mean, your next is approval.
Yeah,
So
yeah, we have,
we don't have to approve
upon
it.
positive review
Yeah.
is, yeah. So, yeah.
I'm okay with
Engineer-
everything else
yeah,
about it, yeah,
Engineering
just-
and utilities have to positively approve it to me and then, or make a recommendation to me, and then
right,
if they come in and be like, yeah, we'll fill it in 10 years, like, I bet,
yeah,
yeah. I also would not like to pay a water bill for 10 years.
right. How do I sign up for that?
All right, so that sounds good. Review and recommendation. The Engineering and Utilities Department will review the application for compliance with city regulations and feasibility. Upon a positive review, the Engineering and Utilities Department will prepare a recommendation for the Safety Service Director. Okay. Developer must obtain written permission from the Safety Service Director based upon the Engineering and Utilities Department's recommendation. Safety Service Director will review the recommendation and, if deemed appropriate, issue written permission for the staggered water tap installation and activation. I think it is, Rob, it is probably appropriate to have just like a stock letter attached as an attachment. That way I'm not just like cracking off a, Dear Mr. B, what up, yo?
Yeah, and I think this would be, what I think in the letter would be a good opportunity to put the, after a certain date, all unoccupied units will have the meters removed or locked out.
Yeah.
So
Yeah,
the idea is,
with probably some sort of clawback provision or something
Yeah, I think part of the drawings moving forward should require dog ears on the valves so that we can lock them. Because right now we have to put something on them to be able to lock them out.
Yep.
So I think part of the drawing and requirements of the city is their valve should have lockable valves.
We can draft that and then mention that it will be, the safety service director must obtain written permit, the developer must obtain written permission from the safety service director based upon the engineering department's recommendation. If deemed appropriate, issue written permission. I don't know.
You could just include
Yeah,
something about a timeline.
Well, I think that can be even mentioned in the letter, but we'll have to say like see attached or something like that.
You see, I think I would remove the if deemed appropriate. I think that you should always do whatever you're doing in writing.
Okay.
You know, I just think that we need to, because it is possible that, the members of this commission would change, I mean, who knows how long he's gonna be in his job, so.
Hardy, hard.
You can't be the only comedian around here.
Yeah.
So, but I think that by building a good written record of what we're doing here, I think will serve us well in the future. That way there can't be any sort of question. Well, Tanner called me up, and after he cracked a couple of jokes, he said, okay.
This guy. He won't leave it alone. All right. All right. The safety service director will review the recommendation and issue a written response at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
All right.
That way that letter is the rules.
Yeah. We
And
have
so
responded regardless.
We may
Yes.
give them partial approval. Like they may say, I want 10 years.
Check.
And then as we recommend 3, and you say, I feel good today, I'll give them 3.5.
Yeah. It's good to be the king. Yeah. All right. All right. Installation and activation. I'm back on it, Rob. All right. Installation and activation. Only the City of Mount Vernon's Utilities Department is authorized to install and activate water meters.
Do you want to say activate and deactivate? Or do we want to? I don't know. Look at
What do you think, Aaron? I'd rather not touch the meter, so maybe both make sense. But
Yeah,
I don't.
activate,
If they have a
deactivate.
massive leak and they turn off the valve, I don't see how
okay.
Well,
You're okay
is
with
that, let's just leave it authorized, and then in case of, it goes by understood that in case of emergency,
Yeah.
that they can do something.
So if we say install and activate, if they have a break and they,
Who
gotta,
have emergency?
Yeah.
they can turn it off, but then to turn it back on, they get a call.
exactly.
All right.
We prefer that they call us, but if you're filling an apartment up with water, please shut it off. It's fine.
Yep.
Yes.
Yeah.
You broke the rules.
I was gonna say.
No.
And then they're like, could I,
Sorry.
since I had to leave it on, could you give me credit for 4 million
Exactly.
gallons of water?
Exactly.
I like it, right?
So what are you gonna do about this bill?
Yes.
Well,
Then you sue it.
I'm up against the wall, man.
Well, you use the water, we'll give you a crack, put it on the wastewater.
came out the windows. Since it was coming out the windows.
So ideally,
Nice
by
fountain you got
design,
there,
you would
Joel.
have your own valve past our meter, right? Everyone should have that.
Yes. I
So
do.
that valve you can turn off whenever you want, turn it back on. You don't have to call us, right? Don't touch our meter.
Yep.
So really in the drawing and the plans, I recommend, especially at like Mulberry, right? We have these vertical meter installs that are going, several feet up, and we have one valve. So the meter guys are like, hey, when I shut this off, which is before the meter, and I pull the meter, now I'm going to get gallons of water on me. So we really should have a valve before, a valve after, and then they should put a valve in, but we don't have to require that. We would recommend that. That's my
Yeah.
common
we-
sense thing that I would put in there.
And we did update the standards.
Yeah.
And then nobody sells parts that we want. So we have
Right.
12 different types of settings in the city.
Yeah.
Our goal was, like if you go, we always like to talk about Mel's neighborhood so he doesn't feel left out. The house is on the hill, the meter's down here. If you're in a pit and you take the meter out, the pit fills up before you can do anything because you're draining back. So we like both sides.
Isolate the meter. Yeah.
And we require that, but then we can't even buy those parts. So, yeah. I like it. Okay, I'm good with that statement.
We're gonna leave this. All right. Water meters may be installed and activated for the state inspection. Are we leaving state inspection language? That's not helpful.
I mean,
Well, that's not what we did with Mulberry, so I don't know if that's how we're gonna do it. Yeah, I don't.
Well, because
What
we got
do you
into cleaning and we got into showings and
Yeah, we shot from the hip with Mulberry, which is why we're doing
Yeah.
this now. So
My preference still remains that we turn the water back off, but, you know, if you guys wish to let them have water, then we'll do the usage billing.
yeah, I think we could change this to usage.
It still leaves us open, I think. I think it's still risky. If I were a lawyer, I would say that, well, you could technically just pay your bill through your landlord and then never have to pay a minimum bill ever, right? Because how are we gonna know?
well, no, because we have a cutoff, we have a shut-off date.
Right, at a certain time, we're gonna turn them all off.
Right, so as
And
long as
lock
that
'em.
date's in there, which is why,
Yeah.
that's my safety net. I
Well,
want
yeah.
safety nets.
Well, that's why we're doing a written response every time.
Right.
So it will have to have that.
Right. So then we'll have to, the billing office or the meter department will have to write that down, put it on a
Well,
calendar.
we'll have, yeah.
Right,
you
so
will
the
get-
ideal thing is the director writes the letter, everybody gets a copy of it.
Engineering, water.
Utility director
You.
takes it to the billing office and to the meter, and it goes in a work order. And then as that date, then the billing office would issue a report. These are the ones that are on special deal. This is the day where they get turned off.
Hey, by the way, today you gotta do something, right? And then
Yeah.
you go look at it and, okay, this is what I need.
Yeah, so we flow that through. You have a work order for billing office, a work order for meter, and then if the owner says, "Oh wait, I got 16 people in here that are," then they need to come over and work it out at the billing office, and then another work order be issued after they've paid all their fees to turn them back on.
I love that plan, but it does require us to use the work order system correctly, because that's something we don't follow dates on that very well, so, just saying. It's a great
Got a new one
plan.
coming.
I love it, yeah.
Yep.
So, once that's in place.
I think there's a meeting about that
yes,
today,
the plan is good, yes.
They're gonna put dog collars on.
They should. Hook them to Google Calendar and, yeah.
hey, as Rankin and Bass once said,
You
put one
laugh,
foot
but
in
it can
front
be
of the
done,
other.
so.
I'm
Yeah.
sure it can be.
All right, that's a little Christmas joke for you. You're welcome. 'Tis the season. The Christmas treat, folks.
It's pumpkin.
exactly
pie.
All right. Water meters may be installed and activated. We still never got an answer out of that, I don't reckon. For the state inspection before the unit is occupied. At this point, monthly billing will not occur.
Well, I think we want to say
Minimum.
minimum monthly billing. Why don't,
It'll be actual usage billing,
yeah, let's say,
I'm gonna put a star on this entire section,
Yeah.
and we are gonna
because we define it as minimum. It needs to be
rewrite
actual.
that way we're not
Yeah.
here for a half hour.
great.
Actual
Let's do
billing. Yes.
has
Actual
a real
usage
job.
billing. That's perfect.
All right. Not a phony baloney job like ours. All right. She doesn't get to wear cool shirts. That's also true. Yeah.
We have to put that in the budget for that.
Yeah. And none for Jesse. All right.
Apparel for volunteers.
Developers must notify the utilities department in advance of the expected occupancy date for each unit to schedule the installation and activation. Water usage from the state inspection will be billed to the account, and monthly bill shall commence at occupancy.
Yeah, I think we ought to rewrite that.
You're
to
scratching, yeah, scratching a
'cause
good
that
deal
will
of
be
that. so-
dependent upon the others.
say
Yeah.
actual, you're gonna go to actual and then you're convert to minimum bill upon occupancy.
Yeah.
So feed the
occupancy or the date that the
Or
contract
the
closes.
end of the deal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Should we include in there a penalty for the developer if they fail to notify us?
Yes. All right. Oh, wait.
That's another whole administrative process.
Well, no, but I'm just wondering if it gets to the point where we end up turning stuff off and then
No,
gotta-
I don't think, I mean,
Well, I
the
think-
penalty is you're trying to just turn it off.
Yeah, well, I think the penalty is the whole thing's off and we're flipping everything back on.
We have an available tampering penalty already.
Okay.
So if they're charge them, I think it's $125 that we charge for tampering.
Yeah.
I think
We don't use it often, but
hit
we
the
do.
tampering
We
thing,
will use it. Yeah.
flip everything on, and we go about our day as though.
Yeah,
from
because
that
I
point
think in the
on.
beginning, at one point, that says that they're subject to all things, and that we can cancel the agreement, and so that covers
it's
that. I
it's
think.
it's a development perk, and if they, violate it, then
Right. So if you lock, if
Here's
you
a
put a lock on it,
$125
and
fee
the
and-
lock's cut off,
move forward.
there you go. Now you charge them the fee. It's already in there.
Or if you park your car over top of the meter pit so we can't get at it, you know.
Yeah.
We tell you, and we can send you the bill, I think is what we
We
typically.
Yes, we've
repossess a
definitely done
vehicle.
that, and we've towed,
Hold it
and
rates.
we've impounded.
All right.
Yeah.
That's old school. Take their dog. All right. Fee deferral and payment. Water and wastewater fees will be deferred for each unit until it is occupied.
No.
Okay.
So,
Minimum fees will not be collected, actual fees will be collected.
Right.
Once a unit is occupied, the corresponding water and wastewater fees for that unit become due immediately.
I think we want to say tap fees. So we need to rewrite this to say you're going to be billed for actual usage and you're going to pay the permit fee and meter fee.
Okay, so we're just,
The developer pay the tap fees and that when they're getting permits, instead of deferring that to the.
Well, I think it depends on the developer.
It also depends on what they're, are they building condos, are they building apartments?
That would need to be spelled out in the letter.
Yeah.
So what we did is they paid that $75 fee. Then we went and installed a meter. So we fronted, in this case, we fronted the cost of the meter, which we shouldn't have. We should have to pay the $75 fee and the cost of the meter and install. Then we can discuss in the deal whether we defer the capacity fees.
Cause you could, if they go 2 years without ever, they got a tap, but they never paid your capacity fees.
right, that's why I think.
City credit's fine, right?
Yeah, that,
yeah,
yeah.
we're good.
The Bank of Mount Vernon.
Yeah.
We'll just go back and get it out of petty cash.
Yeah, but if you have access to water, you should pay that fee, period.
Yeah.
No.
No matter if you're a developer or.
Yeah, don't ask about the cemetery.
What's that?
All right, monitoring and compliance. The utilities department will monitor the development to ensure compliance with the occupancy schedule and timely activation of water meters. That's okay. Non-compliance with the occupancy schedule or unauthorized tap activation will result in penalties, including the immediate due of all deferred fees and potential suspension of the staggered activation privilege and other penalties detailed in utility rules and regulation and city code.
I like that one.
I would do and or any other penalties.
Still going. All right.
Like he's an attorney or something.
Rob's taking them to jail.
I like Rob's,
Yeah. All right. I like
Rob's
that.
methods.
Pretty
All right.
stout.
So no one will ever want to do this. Got it? Yeah.
It's getting better.
We offered it.
Makes my life easy. All right.
It's a really stern way to say this is a privilege,
Yeah.
not a right.
Hey, kids.
You're welcome. Yeah.
I got that talk a lot as a child.
I know,
Which
right?
was a privilege.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
We all know that one.
Right, yeah.
It's a privilege to live here. I'm 3. All right. The city reserves the right to terminate the staggered activation agreement if the developer fails to comply with the terms set forth in this policy. Upon termination, all deferred water and wastewater fees will become immediately due.
The first one should read, fails to comply with the terms set forth in this policy or any other policy of the Mount Vernon Water and Wastewater Division.
I like it.
Utilities.
Well, whatever you guys, however you guys, utilities division or department.
I
Or,
feel like we
Yeah.
narrow it when we say water and wastewater. So we'll
Great. So
say
if they get a
utilities.
stormwater fine, they're done.
yeah.
Send in the SWAT team.
Obey the rules. All right. We're gonna have the policy of the utilities. All right. Be in our good graces. All right. Responsibilities. Developers responsible for submitting accurate applications, adhering to the occupancy schedule, and ensuring timely notifications for tax activations. Utilities department responsible for reviewing applications, making recommendations, installing and activating water taps, and monitoring compliance. We should probably put, what would you say, deactivating? I mean, it's not activate.
Terminating?
is it deactivating? That seems like a weird way to say that.
Termination. Termination.
When you
of
turn a water tap off, what
The
are you?
terminate service is what we.
Terminate,
I think
okay.
that's the terminology, yeah.
Yeah, terminate, all right.
Well, you
We don't mess around.
Usually we're trying to get people to pay their water bill, so of course.
They play hardball.
Yeah.
All right. Engineering department, responsible for processing and reviewing applications, making recommendations, collecting tap fees.
Say and coordinating with utilities department.
Sure.
And safety service director.
No, we're not talking to him.
Yeah. Well, that's the reviewing application, well, making recommendations.
Right, that'll
that's
be
that.
making,
Yeah,
that's
that's the same
implied
thing.
in that.
Yeah. Coordination with. Safety Service Director, responsible for reviewing recommendations and issuing written permissions.
If warranted.
Well, no,
Before you change that to response,
what's that?
Written
I think you were
response.
getting rid of the permission, the word permission.
Oh, yeah,
The written response. I like that a lot.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's
Because
not
it's saying
permissions,
you
it's-
have to give them
I'm-
permission.
and issuing written response, yeah.
So if we recommend denying it,
Yeah, we need a sample denial letter too.
Yeah,
yeah, you're not required to give them permission. Yeah, I like Jesse's.
I think Aaron has a good stamp for that, so. If you,
denied. What was the military F4 or something?
yeah.
Submitted, not approved is
Yeah.
Judge Thatcher's favorite.
This policy will be reviewed annually and may be amended by the city of Mount Vernon to address, do we want to say Utilities Commission?
Yeah.
Yep.
To address any emerging issues or improvements in procedures. This policy was approved by the city of Mount, nope, not city council. Yeah.
Nope. Utilities Commission.
UC of Mount Vernon on burp. All right.
I don't think we need to, we just
We don't need
we
to
just need
sign
the
or
chair of the Utilities Commission, not this. The Safety Service Director is the chair of the Utilities Commission, but
Yeah.
I would just
I'll
note
sign
that
it
you're
twice.
signing it as
Yeah.
the chair rather than.
Then I'll high five myself while I do it. Yeah. All right.
The multi-personality
Yeah,
job
yeah.
description.
Gotta be mentally ill to wanna do that. All right. All right.
All right, give me all your copies. We'll have our one of our writers put this together. We'll scan them in. You can keep your copies.
Well, yeah, I'll hold on to this. We'll sit down and maybe you, me, Aaron, and Brian will, or you are Brian, Rob, will sit down and work some of these, because there's some language and, I mean, especially these two that just need completely rewritten, I guess.
Okay.
But,
yeah.
and then we will distribute this. You created a group, like an email group.
Yes.
So we'll distribute this prior to the next meeting, maybe in a couple weeks.
Okay.
Just to have you guys be able to put eyes on it.
Yeah,
And then we should be able to vote on this in October and just be done with
Right, 'cause you can upload this to that
it. Drive.
drive.
Yeah.
Yeah, and share it. You guys just get to the link if you want. Yeah, if you
Yeah,
have your.
then we can just chisel on it.
Yeah. Okay, well, we'll do that. We'll hold on to those. And then, all right, so let's get back to the agenda here, somewhere in this stack. There it is. Nope.
Yeah, Aaron,
Yeah, all right. Other, all right. If there's any other business that needs to come before the Utilities Commission,
Now for
Yeah.
piece.
seeing none, hearing none, I will call for adjournment.
So moved?
All right.
Second.
Have a second? All right. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All opposed can stay here. Thank you. I just like doing it.
yeah, gavel's there, makes it official. Sold! All right, well, that was good. You're training, you know, on the stuff.
Been off the airport?
Government position, you start saying sold.
Still recording.
Well, how are we even alive, Jesse?
Sorry.
Hey, did you fill out your job application for a first floor job?